I still remember the first time I heard someone confuse Slovakia and Slovenia, and honestly, I wasn't too surprised. Their names are so similar that even experienced diplomats and world leaders trip over them. But as I dug deeper into these two countries, I realized there's much more to the story than just their names. What fascinates me is how two nations so close in name and often mistaken for one another have such unique identities and histories. Let me take you on a journey. Picture this. It's a typical morning in Washington, D.C., around 10 a.m., and two diplomatic officials meet regularly, one from the Embassy of Slovakia and the other from the Embassy of Slovenia. Each month, they exchange mail mistakenly sent to the other's embassy because of the confusing similarity in their country names. This mix-up happens worldwide, sometimes leading even tourists to book flights to the wrong country by accident. These confusions aren't just amusing anecdotes, they've even caused diplomatic slip-ups. For example, back in 2004, the Italian Prime Minister at the time, Silvio Berlusconi, mistakenly referred to the Slovenian Prime Minister as the Prime Minister of Slovakia during a joint press conference. Moments like these show just how deeply intertwined these names are in people's minds. Both country names share a common root in the Slavic language. Slovakia and Slovenia both stem from a word meaning land of the Slavs or Slavic land. That's why their flags also share striking similarities. Horizontal stripes of white, blue, and red, the Pan-Slavic colors inspired by Russia's flag. However, their flags are not identical. Subtle details in their coats of arms reflect their distinct identities. Geographically, these countries are neighbors in Central Europe, but quite different. Slovakia is landlocked, surrounded by Poland, Ukraine, Hungary, Austria, and the Czech Republic. Its terrain is dominated by the Carpathian Mountains, especially the High Tatras, which are iconic to its national imagery and identity. Bratislava, Slovakia's capital, is uniquely positioned near the borders of Austria and Hungary, making it one of the few capitals in the world so close to other national capitals. Slovenia, on the other hand, enjoys a small but significant coastline. Along the Adriatic Sea, its landscape is diverse, ranging from the Julian Alps in the northwest, including Mount Triglav, their highest peak, and a central national symbol, two rolling hills, and the dramatic karst region known for its unique limestone formations. This access to the sea ties Slovenia culturally and economically to the Mediterranean, giving it a maritime identity Slovakia lacks. Despite their proximity and shared Slavic roots, the two countries' histories took different paths. Slovakia was historically part of the Kingdom of Hungary and later the Austro-Hungarian Empire, eventually becoming one half of Czechoslovakia in 1918. Slovenia, meanwhile, was under the Habsburg monarchy, but later became part of Yugoslavia. These different historical affiliations influenced their languages, cultures, and political developments. Linguistically, Slovak is a West Slavic language closely related to Czech and Polish, with which it shares mutual intelligibility. Slovenian is a South Slavic language, akin to Croatian and Serbian, famous for its large number of dialects, over 40. This linguistic diversity reflects Slovenia's mountainous terrain, historically isolated communities, and encouraged varied dialects to flourish. Population-wise, Slovakia is home to about 5.4 million people, while Slovenia's population is around 2.1 million. Both countries are relatively ethnically homogeneous, though Slovakia has a significant Hungarian minority in the south, and Slovenia has small communities of Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs. Religion also plays a role in shaping identities. Roman Catholicism dominates in both countries, but Slovaks tend to be more religiously observant, especially in rural areas, while Slovenia is more secular, particularly in urban centers like Ljubljana and Maribor. When you look at all these details, geography, language, history, culture, it becomes clear that Slovakia and Slovenia are far more than just similar-sounding names. They are distinct nations with unique stories and identities. Dito pelo ChatGPT. Aquí vaya, segunda parte. Continuendo a narrativa en primera pessoa. Montendo o estilo, original ecom, 8 sure. ling characters. Now that we've seen how geography, language, and culture shape these two nations, let's dive a little deeper into the origin of their names and what they truly mean. Both Slovakia and Slovenia derive their names from a common Proto-Slavic root tied to the word slovo, which means word or speech. This root carried an important implication for early Slavic tribes. They considered themselves the speaking people, distinguished from outsiders whose languages sounded unintelligible, often referred to with a word meaning mute. It's interesting how language can be a powerful marker of identity and belonging. Over time, this shared linguistic root evolved into different ethnic and national identities. The term Slovak came to refer specifically to the West Slavic people inhabiting what is now Slovakia. Their identity formed through centuries of history, from the Great Moravian Empire to the Kingdom of Hungary, where their language was often suppressed. It wasn't until the 19th century Slovak national revival that efforts to codify the Slovak language and solidify a national identity gained momentum. The name Slovakia essentially means land of the Slovaks, referring to this particular West Slavic group. Slovenia's name has a parallel story, but applies to the South Slavic group known as the Slovenes. These people settled in the Eastern Alps and Western Balkans during the Slavic migrations in the 6th and 7th centuries. During the 19th century Slovenian national awakening, inspired by Romantic nationalism, the idea of ethnic self-determination helped shape their modern identity. Slovenia means land of the Slovenes. And while the names sound nearly identical to outsiders, Slovenians call themselves Slovenci and their language Slovenzina, adding subtle but important distinctions. What complicates matters further is that neither country chose its internationally recognized name entirely on its own. These names evolved through centuries of usage in Latin, the language of European diplomacy, and German, the administrative language of Central Europe. Latin documents referred to Slovak territories under general terms like Slavia or Slavia Superior, while Slovenian lands were known under names like Carniola or Styria, depending on the Habsburg provinces they belonged to. This long history of foreign labeling shaped how these nations are named and perceived today. Adding to the confusion, many other Slavic regions and countries have names starting with Slav, like Slavonia in Croatia or Slavia, a poetic term for the Slavic world. To outsiders unfamiliar with Slavic languages, these names can blur together, making it difficult to distinguish one from another. The flags of Slovakia and Slovenia also add to the mix-up. Both use the Pan-Slavic colors, white, blue, and red, inspired by the Russian flag. Slovakia's flag features 3 horizontal stripes with a coat of arms depicting a double cross on 3 mountain peaks. This symbol dates back to Great Moravia, a medieval Slavic kingdom, and reflects Slovakia's Christian heritage. Slovenia's flag also has 3 horizontal stripes, but features a stylized Mount Triglav, with 2 wavy blue lines symbolizing the sea and rivers, plus 3 stars from the medieval Counts of Chelj. Despite efforts by both countries to distinguish their flags, the similarities cause confusion at international events, like the Olympics and UN meetings. Broadcasters often mix them up, and casual observers find it hard to tell the difference, especially when flags are seen from afar or in low resolution. In the end, the similarities between Slovakia and Slovenia are fascinating coincidences rather than deliberate attempts to confuse. They share Slavic roots, colors, and symbols that represent a common cultural heritage. Yet their unique histories, languages, and geographies have shaped 2 very different countries with their own stories to tell. So next time you hear someone mix them up, you'll know the rich history and cultural depth behind these names. Like me, I hope you come away with a newfound respect for both Slovakia and Slovenia, 2 neighbors whose stories are as intertwined as their names are confusing. Thanks for spending this time with me exploring this unique piece of European history and identity. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.